Hey everyone, so today I wanted to talk about the things that nobody tells you about retiring early at 57. So, one of the first things that I want to tell you about is that it's not all peaches and cream. It's not ideal for everyone. Some people will love it and others will hate it. Because if you're not somebody who's a self starter, somebody who can create things to do for themselves throughout the day, you are going to be so incredibly bored because nobody's assigning you anything. It's all self assignment. So if you know you have things that you need to do, then you'll take care of them. But usually, when you have the opportunity to decide what you want to do, some people, that's hard. That's hard for them to actually get up off the couch, get out of front of the TV, and actually plan to do something. So, the number one truth about retiring early is that it's not for everybody. You really have to be a self starter and you have to have things that you really love doing that are going to allow you to get up off the couch and do, because you will be bored otherwise. The number two truth about retiring early is that you do have to watch your money. You have to watch your spend. You don't have, at least most people, an unlimited budget. So some people, they have their standard spend, and they might splurge here and there for a couple things, but others, they might want to spend and spend and spend and occupy their time by shopping, and that's not going to be helpful in retirement if you have a limited budget. And because most people don't budget, that can put you in a really bad position. So I would say that retirement for some people would financially not be a big deal, but for others, it could end up being disastrous because they spend too much and that's how they occupy their time. Another truth in retirement is you're going to change what you like and what you don't like. So, for example, you may think you want to travel, but the idea of booking the airfare, booking the hotel, the car rental, the organizing of it all may not suit you well. And so, therefore, you never do it. I think a lot of people have an idea about how glamorous that would be, but reality steps in and they're more excited about doing it than the actual work behind getting it done. And so this is where AI can really help you out, because you can ask any of the artificial intelligent models to say, create an itinerary for me for 5 days in whatever city you're going to, and it's going to be dates, this date through that date, and I want to see historical places that are walkable from this hotel. And AI can help you a lot in deciding or determining what you should be doing. So I would say leverage that. But for the most part, if you're not a planner, if you're not somebody who enjoys going through all those steps of having to plan a trip, you probably aren't going to travel much. So that's another hard truth, is that traveling sounds glamorous, but it takes work and most people aren't willing to do the work to make the travel. And then there's that whole other aspect of reality and the truth of sometimes physically we're not capable of it. We want to do all these things, but physically we just don't have either the capacity or the stamina to actually take on the tasks that we want. So that's why retiring early is convenient for that, because you're still usually physically fit enough that you're capable of going on the excursions off of a cruise boat. I've heard people go on Alaska cruises and then they don't even go do any of the whatever kind of activities are available because they're physically not capable. So, it's one aspect to be able to go, but then you also have to have the physical fitness to be able to really enjoy it, because usually it's a lot of walking, a lot of stairs, a lot of patience, and most people, they it sounds desirable, but it doesn't end up being fun. So that's another truth about retirement that most people don't share with you. And then the last one that I would say is a truth about retirement is, I'm sure you've heard it other places, is that, you're usually, there's a lot of alone time. You don't have a lot of friends that are in the same position. You don't have a lot of even neighbors or relatives that are in the same position. So another truth is that you spend a lot of time alone. So if you're not somebody who enjoys yourself by yourself, and wants that interaction with a lot of people, retiring might be hard on you, because there's a lot of time that you end up having to find things that you enjoy to occupy your time, because nobody's available. And you also have to realize that most people are still working, and so even though they're available, they're exhausted mentally, physically. They don't want to come visit. They have a list of chores and honey-do list that they have to take care of. So one thing that I've found is that unless you have parents that are, older and retired, or family or friends, you otherwise spend a lot of time alone, kind of like I said, self-motivated things for yourself to do. So, just some things to consider. The truth about retiring early and retiring in general is that, there's things that, might impact how much you like it and how much you end up doing. And so that's why a lot of retirees, you hear them get part-time jobs or volunteer jobs that help them pass the time, because they don't really have any purpose or have any real true desires when they do retire. And so just some things to consider. Thank God I don't have any of those. I'm very self-motivated, and I'm very, very happy creating my own schedule. But just wanted to bring some truths to the table, and before you decide to take that next step to retirement. So hope that helped. Talk to you soon. Bye.